the UK is unique as a nation in that on the planet there are about 225 of these remarkable, unique rivers called chalk streams that are a result of a complete geological freak accident about 50 to 80 million years ago when the UK was actually hovering somewhere down around the equator. Mm-hmm. And it's what you're actually thinking about is the skeletal remains of little tiny little things called coccoliths, and think less than the size of a millimetre. And that is actually what you're looking at when you look at the White Cliffs of Dover. You're actually looking at the skeletal remains of a little organism that lived on this planet almost 100 million years ago. And that chalk ridge is what runs from Norfolk right through London in the southeast all the way down into the Isle of Wight. It's named after the white chalk, up into the Wiltshire Plain and the Horse and everything else. It is a massive bit of landscape. And that chalk gives rise and creates and gives birth to some of the most pristine rivers on the planet. There's only 225 of them in total, and 85% of them are here in southern England. There's a small dappling in northern France when the UK still was joined to France, but we don't talk about that.
Yeah, the Brexit, you see.
Yeah. Well, listen.
The original Brexit.
I'm happy to remind everybody there's a harp on the front of my passport, so you know what, you can all do what you like. The thing is, those rivers, what makes them unique is the quality and the composition and the clarity and the utterly pristine water that this chalk creates. It acts as a massive, beautiful, extraordinary water filter and creates the most special water on the planet. That's also chalk streams downfalling. Because if you're living in a water company supplying 15, 20 million people in London, you've got this massive source of underground pristine water that commercially you don't basically have to do much of anything to treat it before you can shove it down a pipe and sell it to your customers. And oh, by the way, water's big, heavy stuff to move around. It's expensive. Whoopee, you've got this massive underground reservoir of pristine, high-quality water right on the edge of the biggest conservation in the country. And as I once referred to it, chalk stream water for a water company is like a crack cocaine party for one on a Friday night.
That's one way of looking at it.
Highly addictive stuff. Yeah, but they love it. They love it. So the chalk aquifer, they've completely drained it dry. It's completely knackered. And as a result, those 200 streams, rivers in this country, which are, and I know I may sound like I'm exaggerating this, but I'm really not, is our Amazonian rainforest. We're absolutely destroying every single one of those rivers and now on a daily basis committing a globally recognised horrific act of ecocide in our own backyard right here. So how dare this country get up and lecture the Brazilians or the Indonesians about rainforests and palm sugar and anything else? We're completely committing ecocide in our own backyard.
Well, what I wanted to ask you about was, we've talked about sewage, we talked about water supply for potable water. Well, the water story is intertwined with climate change, and we've just had horrendous floods, Storm Baba, 7 people, killed in the same areas that got wrecked by flooding in 2007. Yeah. Rivers not dredged, defence is not good enough. Thousands of homes in Yorkshire and East Midland flooded, villages evacuated in Scotland. This is it's a fairly safe bet that severe weather is going to worsen in the years to come into the next Parliament and beyond. How do you see the water issue kind of developing from a kind of a safety level?
Well, listen, I'll broaden it out slightly. I actually think it becomes an interesting thing if you're the potential next Secretary of State for DEFRA.
Yeah.
Because not only do you have water to deal with, 25 million people are about to run out of it. Every river's polluted with sewage. As we now know, climate change, flood defence systems aren't up to it unless the rain blows in the right direction. I don't know if that would make a difference or not. Farming in certain quarters is becoming unsustainable. Dairy farms in the West Country. 50% of the UK's potato crop is grown in the driest part of the country in East Anglia. It takes 60 tonnes of water to grow 1 tonne of potatoes, and yet we grow 50% of the UK's potato crop in the driest region of the country, East Anglia. There's now more rain in South Sudan than there is in bloody East Anglia. So as the Secretary of State... That's
not a figure of speech. That's actually...
No, it's completely accurate. Go and look it up. I challenge you to go and look it up. So the whole thing is quite clearly going from, people are running out of water. And are we actually going to be able to buy eggs? And are farmers still be going to produce vegetables? And will dairy cows still exist? And will we still be able to go and buy milk at a price we can all afford? So whoever becomes the next Secretary of State for DEFRA, I think they're going to have a bloody pretty exciting and challenging time for the next first 5 years in the next Parliament.